Hello everyone and welcome to Teslanomics Live. I'm your host Ben Sullins, and this is the show where we break down the latest Tesla news, the one from the previous week, anything that's happened the day of, which is why we do it live. It usually runs a little bit longer than my normal videos, and I will post timestamps down below after the show ends so you can jump right to any of the specific stories that you're interested in. We also have interactive Q&A at the end, and that is handled by Crowdcast. If you want to get an invite to that where you can actually ask questions during the session and I will answer them. You can vote on them and chat with other folks in the community. You need to go get on the email list at teslanomics.co. So that is the first announcements there. And without further ado, let's just jump right into the latest Tesla news. And the first thing is that the Tesla Model 3 is now available in stores. So it debuted in Los Angeles just recently, the Culver City location, and then there's also the San Francisco location, the Stanford location, which is up in the Bay Area. Now, this article comes to us from Forbes, from Brooke Crothers, who you may know I've collaborated with in the past. He had some videos here that were pretty interesting. I did get a couple notes from people about this that said they stood in line for up to 3 hours just to be able to sit in the Model 3, which is madness to me. I can't believe that people would actually do that, but hey, I get it. It's a very interesting thing. So no test drives yet, but if you are in California and either near those locations, you can go get a look at it. I don't know if the lines are still like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they're still pretty long, but in any event, they're out there. Also, there are other options that you can take advantage of as well to get a more close experience with one. And that the first thing to mention is with this website called Turo. Now, Turo did sponsor a trip I just took to CES in a Model 3, and the Model 3 I rented at the time was much cheaper than the ones you're seeing on the screen now. But these aren't available everywhere, and if you do live in California, though, they are popping up. So I just looked here for Los Angeles a couple days out, and I filtered down to the Tesla Model 3, and you can see some people are really trying to capitalize on this right now. $500 per day for a couple listings, $279 for the day, $295, $245. So these are pretty expensive. I was lucky enough to get one that was only $160 a day. So keep your eyes out if you're interested in renting a Model 3. And even if you just take it for the day, drive it around, whatever, if you get a couple people in, it's not that expensive, won't be that big a deal. And pretty cool experience, honestly. Now, if you do want to check that out, I can offer you a $25 off your first trip. If you go to teslanomics.co/Turo, it'll take you to this page here. You just sign up, and then whenever you use it, you get $25 off. So, take advantage of that, absolutely, if you're planning on using Turo now or at any point in the future. It is kind of a cool car rental service. I've only used it in this one instance here, but I did enjoy it. It kind of reminded me of Airbnb, but for cars. So if, down the road they want to sponsor some more stuff, maybe we'll do some other videos. People put Lamborghinis and all kinds of fun stuff on here, so maybe we'll have some cool things there. But go check it out. You can get $25 off your first trip, and if you do use it and take advantage of it and go drive in a Model 3, I'd love to know what you think. So go to teslanomics.co/Turo to take advantage of that, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Now, the next bit of news we have is about the Tesla Semi, and this is their first order they just received from the Middle East. I'm not going to try to pronounce the company's name, but they are a UAE, United Arab Emirates-based environmental and waste management firm. They revealed that they had ordered a fleet. They have ordered a fleet of 50 Tesla semi-trucks immediately after the launch of the long hauler back in November. So this is exciting because, again, the Tesla Semi is proving to be one of their most popular and potentially longest-lasting models. And I love this because all of these things signal that what's going to happen here, or I'm sorry, that the economics of this make sense. And if so, the potential for the Semi is much larger than a lot of the other models. Yes, they're going to be coming out with the Model Y and then the pickup truck, and those are very large consumer segments. This, though, is a complete game changer, and I know there are some competitors out there, but none have really captured the attention like Tesla has. Of course, that's kind of their most valuable asset is the attention they get and kind of the I don't know, the sizzle that they have around everything they do. So I think this is exciting, and I really look forward to more. Some estimates I've seen put this at over 2,000 pre-orders. Of course, you know, we don't know the official numbers, but we may hear them soon on an upcoming earnings call, or potentially another little 10Q report or something like that. So good things ahead for the Tesla Semi. Next, there have been a lot of other things popping up lately, especially since CES was just this past week, and there were a lot of big announcements there. This isn't particularly a new one, but this is a really interesting a car that Jaguar is producing called the I-Pace. Now, I believe some other YouTuber friends have actually taken a ride in this. I think it's really interesting because of the specs. If you look at the specs here, the Jaguar I-Pace, the concept, will start around $70,000, so pretty affordable, and it'll go 310 miles on a charge, which is great. Excuse me. It's all-wheel drive, has a 90 kilowatt-hour battery. The acceleration is 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds. Plenty fast, honestly. Charging, you know, 80% charge in 90 minutes, so that is quite a bit longer than Tesla's. But, you know, in theory, as the charging infrastructure gets better, you know, that could be better there. And then with regards to, you know, advanced autopilot, full self-driving, we kind of don't know yet. However, it's just really nice that we're seeing competition here. So the Jaguar I-Pace, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of new stuff coming out. The only thing I don't like about this is that people are always calling something the Tesla killer. It's just kind of a joke. I'm sure Tesla has a similar opinion of me, that competition in this space is good. The goal is to switch to a sustainable form of transportation, in which case the more the merrier, right? The idea of a Tesla killer is stupid. The idea of like a Toyota Corolla killer is more interesting, right? Because that's really the thing that the EV market is trying to combat against. Even the higher end cars, which is kind of where they all live now, really isn't the main focus. It's the mass market cars, and I know the Model 3 is marketed as that, but really it's a bit outside of most people's range, honestly. So yeah, there you have it. That's kind of a cool thing. Go check out this article. I'll put links in the description down below, and stay tuned for much more on the Jaguar I-Pace coming out soon. Next, something that was unveiled at CES was the Byton, and this is a SUV. I'm not sure I love the name. It's an interesting concept. It's similar to the size of a Model X. I think it has a really good design and some pretty cool features. Let me show you the interior here. I think the exterior looks fine. My friend Dan did get a chance to do this. He just posted the video on YouTube today, so if you're not following him, it's What's Inside Family. He got to sit in it at CES and check that out. But I really like how advanced the interiors are becoming, and just the tech of these in general. You know, I've been a long critic of cars because it seemed like the tech inside was often neglected, and just the outside styling is all that ever changed about them. Meanwhile, the engine and little things, you know, little fine-tuned things, but nothing really dramatic. And so here you can kind of see a very different looking interior, and some really cool distinctive features about it. And so this is exciting. Whether or not this will actually be the version that comes out, and what we end up seeing in the real world is yeah, you know, a ways out. But I do just love that, again, there's more competition in the market, and all of this means that it'll, you know, if somebody can seriously challenge Tesla in this stuff, it'll be great, because then it'll force Tesla to improve even, you know, better than they are now. So yeah, all good things happening in this space, and I'm excited to see all of these cars see some amount of success here, if not, you know, a tremendous amount. All right, next we're talking about Tesla winning their ability to sell cars in Rhode Island. So if you weren't aware, there are several states, I think there were 5, maybe now this makes it 4, that ban Tesla sales. And the reason is because they sell direct to consumers. So when you buy a car from Tesla, you're not buying from a dealer. In fact, my bank was a bit confused when I just got my financing for my Model 3, which I have all lined up right here as I'm going to get my Model 3 later today. You know, they're saying, okay, what's the name of the dealer? And I say, there isn't one. I don't know. You know, you just put Tesla, but it's a confusing thing. And so a lot of states see this model of direct to consumer as I mean, it's kind of stuck in this really old way of thinking, like the companies were out to kind of pull the wool over people's eyes and and trick them into buying something, you know, and that the car dealers were there to protect the consumer. And so it's kind of this dumb, weird, old legislation that's still hanging around. And those guys are fighting for it, you know, and some of the states that have the big automakers, those are the ones that also ban it. So there's even some really interesting things happening out in Michigan about that, because there were some lawsuits that were settled recently, and the lawsuits are going to let us peek into the emails between the legislators and the lobbyists from the automakers in that state. So yeah, you know, we're going to see a lot happen soon, but this is just a small win here for Tesla, and I don't know how many cars are actually going to sell in Rhode Island. If you're in Rhode Island, let me know. Let me know how often you see a Tesla around. Apparently, this happened about a meeting with the governor and Elon Musk and all that kind of thing, where they were, you know, kind of bummed that they would see the cars all around town, but they knew that they weren't getting any of the tax revenue and stuff like that. So you still can buy them if you live in these states. You just can't buy them from somebody in the state. You have to order it online and then, you know, have them ship it to you and that kind of a thing. So anyways, good news for Tesla in Rhode Island, or for folks in Rhode Island. Hopefully other states like Utah and Michigan will follow suit. Okay, next, something I'm acutely interested in. This was a tweet from Tyson Edwards, and he was asking Elon, can we look forward to more voice control before level 5, meaning level 5 autonomy, to maximize safety while driving? And he's talking about the Model 3 here. Since nearly everything you control in the Model 3 requires input on the screen, thus taking your eyes off of the road more than most other cars. Can't wait for mine. Thanks. And Elon replied. Let me see how long. Oh, it doesn't show the exact time. Let me see if it shows here. I'm curious how many. Oh, okay, it was about an hour later. Okay, anyways. So Elon responded, definitely you'll be able to do pretty much anything via voice command. Software team is focused on core Model 3 functionality right now. Good idea. But that will be done soon. We'll wait and see. Then we will add a lot more features. Okay, let me talk about this real quick, because I just got back from a road trip where I went from Los Angeles to Las Vegas and back in a Model 3. And yes, there are some things about the screen that are a bit distracting, notably the navigation, because in my Model S, when I am navigating somewhere, inside of the dash right behind the steering wheel, it'll have the little map, in fact, the car driving with the route and everything, and it will show me exactly what my next turn is. I just have to look the same place I look for the speedometer, so just barely slightly down. Now here in the Model 3, you know, the speed and all that stuff is on the left side of the monitor, which is just to the right. After a few minutes, you get really used to that. It seems, you know, pretty natural. You know, you're used to for years looking down for that, but now you look over here. I will say at night it was a little weird not having anything lit up behind the screen. I felt like my lights were off or something. But the navigation doesn't switch over. So when you're navigating somewhere, you look over, here's your speed and everything, and then way over to the far right is where the navigation, the directions are. Now you can turn on the voice commands. They'll say, you know, turn right, turn left, upcoming, blah, blah, blah. But if you're like me, a lot of people really don't like that. So that is definitely something that's distracting. And so it'd be nice if they make some changes there. But the other piece about that is the voice command. You know, and as Elon pointed out, and as Tyson here cleverly put, there really is no reason that I can't hit the voice command button and say turn the heat on, or turn the air on, or turn the music up or down. I mean, there are so many, voice command technology is so advanced now, and the entire car is built on these APIs. So you just basically need a translator that listens to your command, interprets it, and then puts that into something that the car understands to actually make that adjustment. So I am very excited about this. I hope that this also comes to the S and the X, because it's something that I think is severely lacking, right? I can't tell it turn the air on or turn the air off or any of those things. You know, even on the S and the X, you have to, you know, look over and find the screen and do all that. So it's not entirely intuitive, and I think it is a big area where they can improve the user experience pretty dramatically. So thank you, Tyson, for asking that question, and of course Elon for responding. I am excited to learn more about that. And of course, we'll update you guys as time goes on, especially since I'll be getting my Model 3 in just a few hours. Okay, now let's head over to Q&A. I have the Q&A up on Crowdcast. Let me stop sharing my screen. And again, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or Facebook and you want to be a part of this Q&A, you can do so by getting on our email list at teslanomics.co. Just double check it looks good there. Okay, you guys can still see me. All right, sounds good. Let's get right to the first question here. Gary in New York asks, now that you have had a Model 3 to drive to CES, how does it stack up in terms of value and performance? Is it the car we all hoped it would be, and is it worth the price? That's a great and very large question, Gary. Thank you for asking that. And, you know, it's really hard to answer it in just one way. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of videos on this, obviously. And I guess the first thing I have to say is, and I covered it quite a bit actually in the latest video I did on the Model 3 I took to CES this past weekend or late last week. And it is significantly different than the Model S, I'll say. I like the Model S a lot more. The car is phenomenal, and I love what it is, but it is very different. And I would say that if you were looking between an S and a 3, it would be a hard sell for me other than on price. The autopilot is fantastic. It worked extremely well. And of course I have a video coming out about that soon. But I will say it's not nearly as comfortable and as kind of luxurious or sophisticated as the Model S is. That being said, if I were to put this against a BMW 3 Series or a Mercedes-Benz C-Class or one of those, yeah, I think the tech in it just trumps anything else out there. I mean, it's a phenomenal vehicle. The only thing that really beats it are the S and the X. And as Tesla, I don't think they were lying previously when they said when they talked about it being you know, a step down. It really is a step down from the S. So that's kind of the thing that I would really. That's like where my head is. It's a step down from the S for sure. Granted, the S is a lot more expensive, so there's the big difference. It really is. But compared to other non-Teslas, yeah, this car just blows them out of the water. You know, the styling, the handling, everything else, it's fantastic. So yeah, I really love the car, but compared to some of the higher end Teslas, it's hands down not as good. It's just simpler and all that kind of stuff. There's some things I really like, but overall, yeah, I think the S and the X are far better cars. So there you go. I am excited to get mine though. I'm really thrilled about it. Thanks for the question, Gary. Next, we have a question from Guy. Thoughts on the news that Tesla decided to suddenly ditch the Alcantara and replace it with a fabric textile? Yeah, okay. So if you guys aren't familiar with what he's talking about, apparently this was news recently. I didn't even notice it. The headliner, or I think the middle bar in the glass roof or some part of that has a different material than the inner side of the doors, which is this kind of fake suede stuff, the Alcantara. I don't know how to say it. Sorry. I didn't notice at all, and I don't care one bit. It's really like the least of my concerns. I find it funny that so many people were upset about it. It's not. This car is not a premium Tesla at all. Compared to the S, it's nowhere near the quality, I would say. The S is a phenomenal vehicle, and if you get in a newer, nicer S, I mean, these things are like really, really nice. I get in the 3, I'm like, this is cool. I like this. Yeah, it's a great car, but it just doesn't even. So I'm not worried about it. I think if somebody's really bummed about that, they should just consider getting an S, something that's just a far nicer vehicle in general. So yeah. My thoughts. I thought it was mostly funny that people were so upset, but apparently, you know, people like to get upset about everything online. So thanks for the question, Guy. Crafty Geek asked, any chance you took note of the watt hours per mile over at least the stretches of your CES model? No, I don't think I did. And you know, honestly, one thing I'm bummed about, because this brings it up, is that the trip meter that you see in the S and the X, where, you know, it shows you all the real detailed stats about your drive and all that kind of thing, they don't exist yet in the 3. I assume they will be coming, but you can't really find any of that info in there. And so I was really bummed on that. Of course, being a data guy, I wanted to see that stuff. And I don't remember if it even shows me the watt hours per mile and stuff like that. I can go back and look at the footage. I will say, though, I was really impressed at how how quickly it charged, and then how long the battery lasted. I mean, something about having over 300 miles is just mind-blowing to me, as somebody that's been for 2 years now had a Model S that barely gets 200 miles. So yeah, I didn't know, but of course I will be I will be doing some analysis on it, as you can imagine. And in fact, my friends over at Tessler, I believe, do support the Model 3. So for now, that is going to be your best bet to get detailed information about the performance and efficiency. So I will guarantee to be covering that very soon. Thanks for the question, Crafty. Did the weather on your CES drive lend itself to putting the HVAC system through its paces? Warm and cooling after being parked for a while? No, it was actually about 70 degrees and just clear the entire way. It did rain, I think, earlier in the week for CES, but I did not. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm sure I used it, but not significantly. So no, but yeah, stay tuned. I will. Now I know you live in San Jose, so me and you are in similar boats where it really, it doesn't matter that much, right? We're not living in snowy conditions or anything like that, but stay tuned. Of course, we'll be talking about all these things once I get mine here very soon. Russell asks, can you use the Model 3 as a power source? Any 110 volt outlets? No, but you can. There is a cigarette lighter adapter thing. So what is that? A 12 volt outlet. So you can use that kind of a thing. But no 110 built into the car. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody makes one as an aftermarket thing if they could figure it out. So yeah, thanks for the question, Russell. Patrick asks, will the price of the Model S and X go down once free supercharging goes away? I doubt it. Free supercharging right now is gone, technically. If you or anyone else, of course, are looking to get one, you can use my code. You can get it at teslanomics.co/TD. It is still active. I've had one additional person use it recently, so I'm excited about that. But I'm guessing that there might be something, maybe free supercharging, but it officially went away last May. So, it's been almost over half a year since it's been officially allowed or available. And I know a lot of people have bought cars without a code. So I don't think the price will go down. If anything, the big rumors right now are that we're going to see an interior refresh of the S and the X. And then newer battery size, like 130 kilowatt hour battery with over 400 miles of range in the S. So those are kind of where we're going. If anything, the prices will go up. And the tech is going to just be, I think we're going to see some major advancements in the S and the X this year. Thanks for the question, Patrick. Rajat asks, Tesla in India, what do you think? I think it's happening. I know there was this interaction with Elon and the Indian government not too long ago where Elon had said he wanted to do it, but there was this whole thing with the manufacturing had to be done there, and they couldn't make that happen. And then the Indian government replied. It sounds like that it's in the works and something that they want to do. I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see it, sometime soon, or at least this year. We hear some major announcements about a plant there, or just being able to sell there and things like that. The question, what? If I were just to throw a finger to the wind and take a guess, it would probably be that they'll build that plant in China that they've talked about, and then use that to make cars for India. But we'll see. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Dane asks, I currently am 18 and drive a 2005 Chevy Avalanche with 14 miles per gallon. Obviously, the change to the Model 3 will be a big jump in my personal transportation. Yep. I will be receiving it in December due to the dual motor config. Do you have any advice for someone making that big of a jump? Yeah. Well, I would say start reading as much as you can now about your personal charging infrastructure and all those kind of things. Driving an electric car is very different than a regular car, notably things like regenerative braking, as well as things like autopilot for the Tesla models and things like that. So there's a lot to learn. So stay tuned. I try to post a lot of that stuff. The guys over at EVNX.com have a whole EV University thing that's worth checking out. So just learn and hang in there. You're young, no rush on any of these things. And make sure when you do get it, you're all set up for it. So I wish you the best of luck, and congratulations, man. That's pretty cool. Thanks for the question, Dane. Steve asks, what do you think about the Model 3 coil suspension? How does it compare to Model S? I tested a Model 3 yesterday. Huh. Okay. Well, yeah. So I have coil suspension in my Model S as well because I have the older one. Me and my friend Dan did a fun test like this. I actually like it. I like it a lot compared to the air suspension. It depends on the situation. I would say that it's good, and it felt really good, and it definitely felt like tight. You know, just the car itself is small and sporty, so it definitely just felt different than my S. But I liked it a lot actually. So. Yeah, thanks for the question, Steve. And by the way, because this is cheaper, this car, and it has these kind of standard parts, there's going to be a lot of aftermarket options for these things. So, you know, if you think about that, like, oh, I don't like the suspension, or maybe I want to lower it or something, all that stuff is coming. You know, there's a few companies doing it out there now, but that stuff is coming very soon. And so because it's not the super crazy advanced stuff like you see in the S and the X, there's going to be a lot more aftermarket modifications here, I think, to the 3. So stay tuned for that. Crafty asks, based on observation features set, roughly what price point would you guess the Model 3 you drove a CS was? It had everything except the full self-driving. So I think it was 61,000 out the door because it had a different. It was black, but it had the sport rims. So yeah, I forget what it was, but it was around 61,000. And mine, after taxes and everything, is just around 60,000. It's like 59,000 and change. So that's about the price point now. Crafty asks, do you know of any third-party retailers yet planning to offer Aero Wheel caps? Is there a better official name? Yeah, they're officially called the Pinwheel wheels now. I don't know about doing it in other colors, huh? Yeah, Evie NX is a good one. Unplugged Performance are the other ones. I would definitely subscribe to those guys' social accounts and blogs and all that stuff because they'd be the ones that I would go to first for that kind of thing. Liam asks, hi Ben, do you know when the Model 3 will be available in showrooms on the East Coast? I don't know officially, but since they are now available here on the West Coast, I would say that, it's happening. Maybe a few months. I'm not sure, maybe 6 months at most. But yeah, it'll happen soon. People talked about a Q3 of last year. Obviously, that didn't happen. I wouldn't be surprised if you see in the next month or so something pop up. I would be really surprised if you don't see it within 3 months. So especially since it's not for test drives, it's just for you to get in there and sit in it and stuff like that. So thanks for the question. Zach asks, can you do a video on if it fits a car seat? Yes, that is on my list. I'm a day one registered owner, and my wife is convinced, based on some of her friends, it will still be a tight squeeze. I don't think so. Yeah, I was surprised at how spacious it was in the interior. So yeah, I'll definitely cover that. I know a lot of people have done other videos with it, but I still have some of these that I have to do because that was one that I definitely plan on. I'm going to have a car seat in it, so it'll just be my life. But yeah, stay tuned for that for sure. Thanks, Zach. Looks like the Byton EV screen is quite distracting. What's your opinion about the screen? Well, I think I think the idea is to have level 5 autonomy. I don't know. I mean, anything is distracting to some point here. I didn't get to see it firsthand, so I can't say. But apparently it works on gestures, so you don't ever have to touch it. You just gesture, and it like figures all that out. So I think these companies, man, I guess let's take an aside here. People are really going nuts with this. The more I think about it, you could basically make, like, I think Toyota or Honda or somebody could basically take the Model 3, put their own design on it, right? Just maybe make it the exact body as a Civic or a Corolla or something. But take the tech on the inside, have a frunk and all that stuff, and get rid of things like autopilot and really just make it simpler, and you would have a phenomenal electric vehicle. I think that when I see companies like Byton, who I know got a ton of attention at CES, I don't think we need to go that far. If your goal is to make a really awesome EV or whatever that people want, I don't think those are really the things, I mean, I love that people are pushing the envelope here because I'm a tech nerd and I love this stuff. But at the same time, if you really just want to be successful, you can almost take what Tesla did with the Model 3 and do something much simpler and be even more successful because the economics of it would be much cheaper. Imagine if you didn't have to do any of the autopilot stuff. That would be a lot cheaper to put that car out, in which case more people would buy it. So, it's really interesting. I think that we're going to see a lot of developments here. I love seeing the companies like Byton that are really pushing the envelope. I just don't think if a company wanted to be successful in this space that's really necessary, right? I don't know if people are going to buy it. Oh, I have to have that crazy touchscreen. Like, I don't want to drive. The more autonomous it would be, the better. But anyways, yeah, I think it's an exciting time, and I love seeing companies push the envelope. But I do think that there is an opportunity here for a company like a Toyota or a Honda to make a lower end EV that would sell incredibly well. So thanks for the question. Mel asks, what about the Model 3 build quality? Lots of them going back for fixes. Yeah, the only thing, it's definitely not as well done as the S or the X. I mean, you can feel like it's a much lower end car. Just the simplicity of it and the materials and all that stuff. But I don't know about things going back. Obviously there's some issues for some folks. The one I ran into in mine was the trunk, where, maybe I'm just first world problems here, but I'm used to my Model S where it automatically latches, right? I just push a button and it lowers, which is fine. I don't have to, that is not a feature I need. But even if I lower it by hand, once it gets down, it clicks in and automatically latches, kind of like Beamers do. So when it does that, then I know it's locked. In the 3, it doesn't do that, and so I actually left the trunk open one night with like camera gear and all kinds of shit in there, and it. Because you have to like slam it shut. You have to really push hard on it. So I don't know if that was a build quality thing or that was just that's just how it is. So we'll see. And of course, I'll be talking about it once I take delivery of mine in about 3 hours. Getting there. Thanks for the question, Mel. Yeah, it's an interesting thing for sure. And we'll be keeping an eye on that. Walt asked, when ordering the 3 with arrow wheels, would they be painted the same color as the color I chose? No, they are black. Thanks for the question, Walt. Gabor asks, did you find any cool Tesla or EV related products at CES? I actually didn't go into CES, but I did. One, I got to check out the Faraday Future car, which is still around. I wasn't sure what was going on with that company. I'd heard so many different things, but they were there, so I got to see that. I didn't, and then I got to ride in the Mercedes. It's called the Intelligent World Drive, which is their kind of a semi-autonomous driver-assisted features. My friend Dan said it correctly. I think Mercedes is doing a better job about how they describe these things. Instead of calling it autopilot, which makes you think you can just, go to sleep, they call it driver assisted, and then they have a whole separate program that's working on the fully autonomous one. So stay tuned for a video on that, because I got to sit with the engineers and really dig into some of that stuff. It was a great great hour or so I spent with them. And yeah, thanks to the team at Mercedes for sharing that information, because as a geek like me, it is so insightful to really understand these things from that level. And I wish Tesla would kind of let us, behind the curtain a little bit sometimes. So that was probably the coolest thing I saw. My friends Dan from What's Inside and Zach from Jerry Rig Everything had a much deeper, more complete CES experience, and they'll probably be covering it as well. So check their channels out in addition. Thanks for the question. Brian asks, have you heard when they will be making updates to the S? Rumor is sometime this year, maybe summer of this year, we'll be seeing some stuff. But we'll see. Rumors are rumors. So stay tuned. Liam asks, hi Ben, I have another question. Why do you think the Tesla stock is down? Also, do you know where to purchase a single stock? Yeah, so just first off, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not, this isn't financial advice, any of that stuff. You can buy stock from kind of any broker. When I buy stock, I buy it through Charles Schwab. You can go, hundreds of other places. But I have no idea why the stock is down. I really don't pay attention to the stock market at all, other than the macro indexes, because that's all I invest in. I only invest in index funds flat out. I actually sold. I had a bunch. So over the years, I had bought stock from companies that I was close to. So Tableau Software, Facebook, Tesla. And I don't know, a few months ago, 6 months ago or something, I just sold all of it, because as a philosophy, I don't invest in individual stocks. There's just too many factors there, and as well as I'll just say I don't trust people to not make bad decisions. And so if I'm putting my money into something like that, I would rather put it into the entire market through an index fund. And I don't do mutual funds either, just solely index funds. And so that's kind of where my head is at. So I don't pay attention. I am a super geek on the cryptocurrency stuff, but again, the day-to-day stuff, it's kind of a fool's errand to try to track any of that stuff. So there you go. Crafty asks, do we yet have info about Tesla's semi-expected weight? That is the weight of the drive unit cab. Yeah, the gross vehicle weight of 80,000 kilograms or whatever. Yeah, but since the cargo weight is roughly... Yeah, no, I don't know. I haven't seen anything. You might be able to check the press kit website. If you go to tesla.com/press kit, all one word, usually they post kind of additional details there. So yeah, check that out. Navigation map concern for Model 3. Have you ever driven an ICE car with a nav system positioned on a smaller screen around the center line of the center console? Yeah. Do you think that a driver used to such... You know what I would say? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So in regular cars, you kind of the navigation in the center. That's still a bit easier because this literally isn't just looking over. It's all the way to the right of the screen. So it's pretty far. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people throw up their phone on a nav behind the steering wheel itself. I think that would be a much better thing. Plus, if you guys commute, I don't drive a lot. I work from home. I have a studio I built here. And so I'm not a person that spends a lot of time on the road. However, when I do go on the road, I use Waze. It's W-A-Z-E. If you guys haven't heard of that, I don't know if it's available all over the world, but in the U.S., it is phenomenal. And I really can't speak more highly of a product than Waze. And the reason I say that is because with the Tesla, you get in California anyways, you get access to the carpool and the HOV lane, which if you're unfamiliar, is like a separate lane just for people, usually carpooling. Now, you can plug that into Waze and it'll actually route you around Los Angeles, where I drive a lot, and it'll keep you in that lane. So it's so smart that it's just phenomenal. Way better than Google Maps, way better than the Tesla navigation. I know Elon has said that he's going to have a major update to that. I hope it includes Waze integration because that would be a major thing. But anyways, to say with the navigation on the Model 3, since I'll just go out, not even on a limb, and I'll just say Waze is far better than the Tesla built-in stuff. You can, it wouldn't be that difficult to mount it right behind the steering wheel and just use it very, very directly line of sight. So that'd probably be even better, which is what I would do. I do have a Navity still that they gave me, so I might check that out and see how that works. I really wasn't... it didn't make sense to have that in my S, so I'll see what it looks like in the 3. But stay tuned because I'm going to do all these things very soon once I get my car. Evan asked, videos from November show nav on the left side of the map next to your car info. Do you think the future software will move it back? Yeah, I don't know. It'd be cool. And honestly, there may be a way to customize that I'm just unaware of. I literally got in the car. I drove up the night before to my brother's house in San Clemente. I stayed there. I drove up the morning from San Clemente to Santa Monica, picked up the car, got in it, and drove to Vegas immediately. So I didn't really have time to spend too much time there. In fact, I had a hard time adjusting the mirrors because the mirrors, I was expecting them to be where you typically adjust mirrors, but no, that is also in the digital thing. And so I didn't know any of the menus, so I'm literally driving going, oh shit, where is it? Where is it? And so, yeah, it could be that there is an option for that. And of course, once I get mine here in a few hours, I'll explore that for you guys. Thanks for the question. Man, you guys are killing it on the questions today. Make sure to go and vote. I see a lot of them on here. Okay, here we go. Let's. Vic asks, why do you not like the air suspension compared to the coil suspension? It's hard to say. So, and I'm not an expert in this category, but the people I have talked to about it kind of put it this way. They say, it's not that air suspension is better than coil suspension, it's different. And one unique feature in the Tesla cars with the air suspension is that you can raise and lower the vehicle from within the car. And it'll even remember where you raise and lower it. So imagine you have a driveway, like my friend Ryan McCaffrey from Ride the Lightning podcast, where he needs a car that rides higher. He has to wait to get the air suspension because of that. So I think that the air suspension offers you more capabilities, which is great, but it also comes with more challenges because it's a lot more expensive to fix and a lot more difficult to repair. So there's kind of a pro and con there. Now, the coil suspension, I like. It works really well. It depends on the types of roads and all these things. It's not one's better than the other. They're different, and I tend to like the coil suspension more. So can't really explain it more than that. Like I said, I'm not like a super expert at suspension, but that was just my experience, which you'll see soon on a video upcoming, which was pretty fun. So thanks for the question, Vic. All right, I'm going to try to scan for any other questions here that have been voted on. There we go. Christopher asks, this morning I've been calling around for insurance quotes, and the cheapest I can find is $152 per month. I've checked 5 companies. I'm looking for maximum coverage because I have an umbrella policy. Okay, so Christopher's asking, I assume, about the Model 3. Did you check the Insure My Tesla thing through Tesla themselves, which goes through Liberty Mutual? That would be, if I didn't have one already, that would be my first guess. Ironically, so I have farmer's insurance, and I have 3 cars, life, and home insurance all through them, and I'm a AAA member, so I have all these kind of discounts and stuff, and I don't know what other discounts she gives me, but for me, the Model 3, so we had a 2013 Acura RDX, which is the compact SUV. We just sold that. We're taking that money as well as some other money and then buying the Model 3. Getting the insurance on the Model 3, it's actually $20 cheaper now. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Insurance is a very subjective and quirky thing. I would recommend checking out Insure My Tesla if you haven't talked to them yet, because that would be my first choice. And I would imagine that they were offering kind of really good deals on it. So there you go. All right. Let's see. Brian asks, will you be filming your Model 3 pickup? Absolutely. Of course. I actually have a filmer coming over to do it, so I don't have to be manning the camera, and we can kind of get more in depth with it. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming out this week, hopefully. Oh man, there's so many questions still. All right, how about this? Jacob asks, "Hi Ben, love the show. Is there an auto parking on the Model 3, and if so, how well does it work?" Yes, there is, and it works good. I'd actually never done that because my Model S doesn't have it. But I was at the Las Vegas Supercharger. There's a Lazy Dog restaurant. I forget. There's a couple of them, but it's the one kind of as you're coming into town from LA. And I was backing up into the Supercharger, and it popped up on the screen, said stop and do the thing, and it did it all on its own. So yeah, it works, and it worked well. I'll be doing all kinds of a full breakdown of all those kind of things very soon. Thanks for the question, Jacob. All right. Gabor asks, can you order the car with winter or summer tires only? I don't need all weathers. Huh. I'm not quite sure. When I ordered, I didn't have a choice of any of those things. I just basically got the sport wheels or the aero rims and the color, long range, premium, and autopilot options. So there wasn't an option when I ordered mine. Crafty asks, FYI, now you know, use the watt hour per mile display analyzing. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so I'll take a look for that. Thanks for the heads up, Crafty. Nathan asks, are you in favor or more tablet-like screen in the Model 3, or like me, still enjoy the screen in the Model S and X? Yeah, I definitely like the S and the X screen more. Not necessarily because of the positioning, but just because of the size. The Model 3 screen is quite a bit smaller coming from the S, and it also, I have everything packed onto one instead of two. So it definitely, I think that's part of why I feel like when I get in the S, this is like a really advanced luxury car. I get into the 3, I'm like, this is a really cool tech car, but not nearly as nice or as luxurious as the S. Sarthik asks, why is Tesla not attending the Detroit Motor Show? I don't know. Maybe they're Apple-like and they don't think they need to. I mean, or probably don't have bandwidth either. I know they attended the LA Auto Show. Maybe because Tesla's banned in Michigan for direct sales. Yeah, could be why. I don't know. Just guesses. Secret Melon asks, do you think someone will be able to make a drift car with the rear-wheel drive? No, I don't think so, man. I think it won't let you drift. In fact, one of the cool things I saw at CES was this BMW thing where you could get in and they would just drift around this track. I get some cool B-roll of it. And it was funny because I'm like, man, that's really cool. I don't think that's possible in a Tesla. I think it kind of prevents you from doing that. I know the guys at Now You Know tried to do it in the snow and they couldn't. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I'll test that on mine. It's not really, but we'll see. Yeah, whatever. Christian asks, I'm 17 and can afford a Model X. Woohoo! What do you recommend me to get? And what will the Model 3 cost in 2020? Well, if you can afford a Model X, I would get that, man. Model X is pretty awesome. I would get the biggest battery you can afford and then think about seating options and then go from there. Model 3 cost in 2020, I think it'll still be the same price. I don't think that's going to change much. Thanks for the question. Nathan asks, besides build quality, what is the major difference between the 3 and the Model S? Size of the vehicle, and kind of the controls, the steering, the tightness of it, and all that. I'm going to run through these last ones here pretty quick, guys. Jarek asks, Day one East Coast non-Tesla owner, reservation holder. Is there a way to swap positions with the reservation holder that is a current owner and that wants to wait for all-wheel drive? Don't believe so. Sorry. D-Pie asks, PewDiePie, I miss 3 things. HUD, hatchback, and cheaper ACC option. Yeah. Well, the HUD, yeah, it's strange they don't have it. It's a simple technology. I don't really care. I've never had it, so I don't know what I'm missing. Hatchback, I agree, that'd be nice. Cheaper ACC option, I don't think it's that a big a deal. The autopilot is phenomenal. I haven't really spent much time with it until this trip, and I cannot wait to be driving with it on a regular basis. I will say, though, ironically, after I got back, I turned my car in to get some work done on it, my Model S. They gave me a loaner, which was a Model S P85 Plus with Autopilot 1. That was like butter. That was so good. I was really impressed. It was better than the Model 3s for sure. But of course the Model 3 is Autopilot 2.5 or whatever, so it's not there yet. So really interesting. But man, it's really nice when it works well. It is really, really nice. Nathan asks, are you able to turn off traction control? There is a thing called slip start, but I don't think that's exactly the same thing as traction control. Christian, yeah, you already asked me that one, so I'm going to delete that question. Christopher, I tested seeing the video covering the camper mode. Yeah, camper mode would be cool. I almost tested that because I almost couldn't get into my Airbnb, so yeah, but I didn't, luckily, because it would have been cold. Don asks, you mentioned that the tech-wise it beats Series, but a well-equipped Model 3 is on par with a 5 Series price-wise. Okay. Driving experience-wise, how does it compare to a 530? I'm not really I love BMW cars. I love Mercedes cars. I think they're phenomenal. Obviously, these guys have been making cars for hundreds of years. They know what they're doing. The thing I've always been bummed on is the tech inside, and even the latest and greatest from both those companies, I don't think compares to how good the tech is inside of the Model 3. Driving experience, honestly, I mean, it's a subjective thing, but you could imagine that probably a 5 Series BMW or a 330. I don't know what the 330e is. That's probably another BMW. Anyways, if you were to compare it to a BMW or Mercedes, those guys are probably better from the driving experience because obviously they have a lot more time developing the car. The main difference, though, it's an electric car, so it's so different. Anyways, yeah, hard to really say on that, but I will say the tech in it is kind of my favorite thing, and I don't think anyone really competes with that yet. They really need to get away from the buttons and the BlackBerry style interfaces and just to the pure clean kind of stuff like the S and the 3 have. So yeah, there you go. Valerie, I'm late, so you may have addressed this. Do you know what they are doing with the premium interior? No. Okay. So it's nice. It's definitely nice. They have a lot of the Alcantara stuff, the kind of faux suede or whatever. The seats are nice. It's nice. It's a really nice interior. I think the thing you're talking about was what people got all butthurt about, which I don't know why, was the headliner was a different material. But again, I didn't even notice it, honestly. I didn't notice until I got back, and someone was like, hey, did you take a picture of that? I'm like, no, why would I? I don't care. Anyways, it's nice. It's a nice interior. Not as nice as the S, I'll say, or the X, but of course it's the cheaper version. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for the question, Valerie. Sahil asks, does the Model 3 come with autopilot that is factory installed? Yes. Nathan asks, have you ever tried to tow anything in your Tesla? I do not know that. I think there's some folks on YouTube that have done that, though. I've not tried. No. I don't even know what I would tow. So Christian asks, what's your perspective rating on Tesla.inc? I don't know what Tesla.inc is, other than, unless you're talking about the stock, in which case I don't really have one. I think the stock market in general, I'm short on it. So there you go. Thanks for the questions, folks. Alcantara. Okay. Yeah, there you go. That's how you say it. Thanks for the question. Thanks for the comment, Nathan. Okay, folks. Thanks for joining me yet again on this episode. Don't forget to get on my email list at teslanomics.co so you don't miss any of the great content and you get invited to these sessions as well. And lastly, remember, when you free the data, your mind will follow. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you back here next time.